Hi, Dr. Glover. I'm Jocelyn Powell, and today I'm going to be presenting for you Situational Crisis Communication Theory. This theory was created by Timothy Combs, and our textbook defines this as the Situational Crisis Communication Theory, as this offers a crisis response strategies depending on the threat or crisis, as well as an assessment of the organization's crisis history to protect an organization's reputation. Therefore, situational crisis communication theory takes into consideration both the past, the present, and the future of an organization. This crisis is an event that is unplanned and out of the control of the organization. This would include any form of natural disaster, assault, or even a death. Thus, it's important to handle the situation in the best way possible. This theory refers to the manner in which an organization, person, or brand handles a single crisis. Ultimately, the crisis should be handled in a strategic way to protect the organization's image or prevent a larger crisis from occurring. In a situational crisis, the plan needs to be executed quick while still providing truthful and vital information to the public and professionals that are involved. Public relations is the professional maintenance of a favorable public image by a company or other organization or famous individual. Thus, this theory is very important in public relations because it provides organizations with a crisis plan that will most likely benefit them rather than have more problems arise. Unless an organization already has a crisis plan in place, this is when situational crisis communication theory comes into play. With situational crisis communication theory, this crisis plan will differ depending on the severity of the crisis. So this will be different on a case-to-case basis. For example, the way you would handle a crisis of a small town fire would be very different than how you would handle a major oil spill. For the small town fire example, a crisis plan that would be put into place would most likely be to have police and the fire department inform the media of what happened. Also, you would inform the local media, not national, because that wouldn't have much to do with a national news story. Whereas for an oil spill, a lot further steps would need to be taken in order to convey this to the public, such as an entire cleanup plan, alerting the local and national media, and conservation and preservation efforts as well. It would also be in the best interest of the PR professionals working for the oil company to release a statement to the public of what their next steps are and how this can be prevented in the future. An example of a major oil spill that happened in the US would be the Exxon Valdez oil spill, which occurred in Alaska. This is a perfect example of what PR experts should not do when running an organization's crisis management team. As well as, this is also an important reminder that CEOs and presidents of companies should also be very mindful of how they carry themselves in the public and what information they give out. By being truthful and providing the best possible, I would say, information to the public will create a sense of trust and security for the public, so they will continue to support the organization after this crisis. When a situational crisis occurs, this can result in financial loss, production halts, and public safety issues. So it's important to keep in mind when addressing the public all of these different factors. By maintaining a good reputation, this makes public relations easier for the organization in the future. Because essentially, by maintaining a good image, this will prevent the need of having to constantly do damage control for this organization. Therefore, it will allow PR specialists to save a lot of time, money, and energy by allowing them to use their time in a more mindful way. This plan is a theory especially helpful once all the steps of an original crisis plan are followed through. So, for an example, would be once you go through all of your crisis plan for a situation, this is where situational crisis communication theory will come into play, because you will need to then come up on the spot with the best possible way to carry out the organization's goals. The ultimate goal of situational crisis communication theory is to prevent and maintain stakeholders of an organization by keeping both the public happy, private investors happy, citizens happy of a town or city. This allows everyone involved to have the best possible outcome. Therefore, it is a key thing to determine a suitable crisis plan depending on each situation and how this will affect everyone involved. In terms of public relations, you need to look at the bigger picture and not just that it's an organization. This organization is also a part of communities, workplaces, and just everyone, ordinary people's everyday lives. So it's very important to keep in mind that you are dealing with people and not just a company, and look at the bigger picture. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much.